Welcome back to part 42 of Final Fantasy XII, where today we're finally at the peak of the Pharos Tower. Once you interact with that Waystone, there is a lot of plot that is about to unfold, and 2 boss fights back to back, so make sure you are prepared at every sense of the word before you finally take the last ascension and find your way at the peak where the Sun Crest waits.
So this is the Sun Crest.
King Wraithwall stood here. With this sword, he cut the Sun Crest and took its power in his hand.
But you're going to use the sword to destroy the Sun Crest. Aren't you, Ash?
Don't interrupt me, Vaughn. You want revenge? You would have me use the stone? You would have me destroy the Empire? Is this my duty? Is this what you want? I cannot.
Why do you hesitate? Take what is yours. The crest is a blade. It was meant for you. Wield it. Avenge your father. Yes, it was I who wore Bashi's face, who cut down the life of Dalmasca. Lady Ash, your father's murderer is here.
You and Rex!
I slew your king. I slew your country. Do these deeds not demand vengeance? Yes, good. Find your wrath. Take up your sword. Fight, and serve those who die before you.
A Judge Magister there was. 2 years passed. He took in his hand the Midlight Shard, stolen from Nabratia, and used it not knowing what he did. And Nabudis was blown away. Cid ordered this of him, to learn the Nethicite's true power. That man swore never to let such terrible power be used again. He forsook his Judasus plate and his name.
Judge Sect.
It's been too long, Gabranth. Reach out your hand, Lady Ash. But remember, that which you must grasp is something beyond revenge, something greater than despair. Something beyond our reach. Try as we might, Gabranth, history's chains bind us too tightly.
No, we cannot escape the past. This man is living proof. What is your past, daughter of Dalmasca? Did you not swear revenge? Do the dead not demand it?
Wrestler. My prince. Our time was short. Yet I know this. You are not the kind to take base revenge! The Wrestler I knew is gone.
You are our saint, SHAREfactory. You must use the Nephesite. You must be the one to straighten history's weave.
I am no false saint for you to use.
Ash.
In all Dalmasca's long history, not once did we rely on the Dusk Shard. Our people resolved never to use it, though their need might be dire. That was the Dalmasca I wanted back. To use the stone now would be to betray that. I will destroy the Suncrest. I will discard the stone.
You claim no need of power? What of your broken kingdom's shame? The dead demand justice!
You're wrong. What would change? I can't help my brother now. My brother's gone. He's dead.
Even with power, we cannot change what is past. What is done, is done.
Yet without power, what future can you claim? What good a kingdom you cannot defend?
Then I will defend Queen and Kingdom both.
Ha! Defend? You? You who failed Landis and Dalmasca. What can shame hope to keep safe? Your shield is shattered. Your oaths poison those you would protect.
And thus begins our fight against Judge Gabranth. The most fascinating of the judges and most interesting character that has the plot's kind of followed. Every time we've checked in on the judges, like in the cutscenes or seen what the villains are up to, a lot of it is from Gabranth's perspective, making him a very significant character. One that this fight is littered with scenes covering.
Killing the Kingslayer will win you back your honor. When you abandoned home and kin, your name was forever stained with blood.
Aye. This stain is mine to bear, but I will bear it willingly, knowing that I did all that I could for hope.
Preen and strut as you like. In the end, we are the same. Bloodthirsting carrion birds. Hellbent on revenge.
Judge Gabranth is also in the logo of this game, just, signify that this is kind of partially his story as well, and we're just unfortunately on the receiving end of all of his anger and frustrations. But you really don't need to do that much more damage to end the fight. Like I said, you don't need to do all of his health, only most of it. And then another rather lengthy cutscene will take over, and the real meat of why we came here will start to begin.
So you, too, would leave your debts unpaid.
Enough of this! I can bear no more. You disappoint me, Gabranth.
What?
He trusted you. When you bared steel against the princess, you forswore your obligations to your emperor. You shame yourself and make mockery of Lord Lars's trust. You are unfit to serve him as sword or shield, and so I release you from that service. Your presence is neither required nor welcome.
Gabranth!
You are only a tool of this Venar.
How quaint. We are allies. The Acuria give men power as a master feeds his dog. It is meant to tame us. How well you've resisted their wile. By turning your back on their stones, you give us free hand to write our own history.
And at what price? Dalmasca's freedom for your Nephesite? I shall not suffer you to have it. The Suncrest be damned!
I'll be sure that it is! For what other purpose do you think you've brought us here? But, my lady, I would have you stay your Acurian sword. The Suncrest is glutted with mist, and so precious a thing must not be squandered. Let us use the stone! Finish this for now! Shards of Nephesite, cocoon of the Suncrest, spill forth your mist upon this evil east! Let sea and sky be awash in it, that Bahamut may come and drink his fill! And lo! How brightly burned their lanthorn! Casts it back the shadow of a Curian design, testament that man's history shall be his alone!
You made your Nephesite for this? You mimic the Acuria stone for what? To become a god yourself?
On whose shoulders better to stand than those of the would-be gods? Ah, such high hopes I once had, but you ran and they with you. Alas, the hour of your return is late. Come, Famrin, revel in the glory of my triumph!
Famrin was Balthier's name as he was a judge. He was Judge Famrin. But that aside, it's now time for us to take on our second and last encounter with the madman that is Dr. Sid. Dr. Sid is the main fight up here in the main challenge, and you're essentially fighting him 2 times in a row. Because during this first fight, you're just attacking him directly, riddling him down as much as you can, but once you bring him halfway down, he will make a manufactured Nephesite to use to force the summon of an Esper.
Witness its power with your own eyes! Fanfreed to me!
He did not summon Famfree legitimately per se. He made a manufactured copy. If you decide to defeat Famfrit first, you'll get a genuine version of Famfrit, which is why you're going to see I drift the entire party's attention to only attacking Famfrit because I want that Esper. I don't know if it actually matters which one you kill first if you can still get Famfrit, but for the sake of assurance, I've always gone for Famfrit first. And Famfrit can buff Dr. Sid anyway, so of course you want to take him down first. He isn't that strong of an Esper because of the fact that, you know, there's 2 boss enemies on the field at once. It'd be a bit brutal if it was as powerful as some of the other Espers we have encountered. Because, you know, it is still got ultimate power, such as with his Aquager that we just got hit by. It can also buff itself with Shell and Haste, just then your magic abilities are heavily reduced because of it being water based. It has a lot of elemental weaknesses to exploit. But once you weaken it down to destruction, you will get the Esper for yourself. And I suppose if you really wanted to, whilst you're in... Oh no, you can't, never mind. I was going to say, if you really wanted to, you could bring an Esper out yourself, but you can't get the only one that you'd really want to for the satisfaction, because you can't... It hasn't given you Famfrit yet. You've just defeated it. If it gave you Famfrit then and there, I'd say get it on the license board and summon it on Sid. But no, if you want to still turn it on him, you can absolutely still use a summon, you just can't use that one. He just uses ultimate there, and it is a group-wide attack, so it doesn't do as much damage, but it will hit regardless of where you are in the arena. However, eventually, Dr. Sid will finally cave in, and you have not only defeated, but ended his insanity. Vinar can defend him no longer, and you have gained an Esper for your trouble, putting you up to 11 if you're following along, meaning there are only 2 that we are missing, Ultima and Zodiac. One of which is in the Great Crystal, the other is the hidden 13th one we'll get to later.
Let him by, Fenar. It is done. Ah, how I have enjoyed these 6 years.
The pleasure was all mine.
Was there no other way? Spend your pity elsewhere. If you are so set on running, hadn't you best be off, fool of a pirate?
Fran? Fran!
The mist burns to bursting. It beats. The cocoon. The sun-crest bursts. You must run as far as you can.
Easy, Fran.
Hadn't you best be off? That's what a sky pirate does. You fly, don't you?
I suppose you'd better hang on then.
Ash! The sword! We have to stop it!
You must quit this place. It's reacting. I've not seen its like before. Nay, never this large. Never such threat impendent. For Nabudis.
Redis! Redis, no!
I, Judge Magister, condemn you to oblivion!
Redis.
And on that note, you are now finished with Act 3. All you've got left is the epilogue. This one lone encounter and the final boss. But Redis has now passed and left us, making the ultimate sacrifice for us. Blast the sea, blast the waves, blast the door. I can't believe he's gone. He's Redis. How could he die? Hadn't you noticed? He'd been searching for a place to die all along. Lord Redis weren't the sort of man to run away from his problems by dying. He weren't. How could he abandon this town? You'd have him regret passing. You'd have him suffer and wail for eternity. That's not what I meant. No, if he's gone, then he should rest in peace. God knows he deserves it. Then let him. If you've time to mourn and curse him, then you've certainly time to carry on what he started. If you don't wish an eternity of regret on him, then let's do our part here and know he's watching over us, satisfied. Satisfied? Redis, we'd be lucky if we earned a not disappointed from him, but I suppose everything depends on us now. Us and Vaughn's crew. Since when have you turned to trusting that lot with more than swabbing the deck? I wasn't blind. I saw the faith that Redis had in them. I'm sure they'll discover what it is they need to do in short time. Speaking of which, did you tell them about our guest? They should be meeting up with the Mans as we speak. Who was the odd fellow anyway?
Al-Cid?
We let ourselves inside. The situation is one demanding some haste, you understand?
How did you know where we were?
My little birds. They tell me many, many things. My lady, the war begins now.
Then you were unsuccessful in stopping the Rosarian fleet?
I used a variety of methods. All went according to plan until it came time to request withdrawal of our most devoted generals. In their enthusiasm for war, our great military leaders went behind my back straight to Marquis Sandor's resistance.
The Resistance?
During training, a division of the Resistance ignored their orders and disappeared. They were next found exchanging broadsides with the Imperials over Old Nabradia.
Why would they go there? They were asking to be found.
You misunderstand. Those ships must surely belong to Rosarian Division. They may have joined Ondor's resistance forces as patriots or even mercenaries, but in reality they are regulars of the Rosarian army, under direct command of our war pavilion. This fifth column has invaded Imperial airspace and provoked a response. Unable to abandon them, His Excellency the Marquis was obliged to give his main fleet the order to attack. And the battleground is Dalmasca.
Should this fight drag on, Rosaria will enter the fray. The defense of Dalmasca is their excuse, and we will have a war between empires.
Correct. They will bide their time waiting to strike until the Empire has spent itself against the Marquis. But then he will crush them and the Marquis both between his hands.
Vayne holds the Dusk Shard no longer. His advantage is lost.
Vayne has advantages enough. He stands on higher ground, and my birds tell me he has awoken something quite large. Bahamut, Lord of the Sky. There was a stirring in the mist, in the direction of Ridorana, I am told. Bahamut awoke soon after this.
It is the mist that came before the Christ was undone. It breathed life into this Bahamut. If Rethers had not stopped it when he did, how much more mist might it have drunk? All went according to Dr. Sid's designs.
Yes, the man's last great accomplishment, I fear. And so it falls to me to put an end to the thing.
Vayne commands Bahamut himself?
He comes to Rabanastar.
Then I will defend Dalmasca and stop this Bahamut. This is my charge.
That's our charge, actually.
It's our home. It belongs to us all.
And my charge is to hinder and delay this Rosarian invasion for as long as is possible. I will do what I can. Ah, yes. When this unpleasantness is done, you must come to Rosaria. I will take you to the Amber Vale of Clan Margrace. Such things I will show you. Until then, I will be waiting.
Even a critical time like this, Al-Cid can still find the opportunity to be slightly flirtatious with the princess. Anyway, our final objective has been given. When you go to your airship, you will be able to go straight to the Sky Fortress Bahamut. And the moment you do, you pass a point of no return. It is only fighting until the credits. So the save point you make now is technically your post-game save as well. everything is available to you now, so you can go and do absolutely everything in the game, saving the Bahamut till the very end. And on that note, next time on Final Fantasy XII, you've got a little bit more side questing to do, but until then, take care now.